Happy Monday, guys. Last week we did adding and subtracting of integers. So moving right along with our integers, we're going to do multiplying and dividing this week. Multiplying and dividing is actually easier than adding and subtracting. There's a lot less rules, and I think you guys will enjoy this a little bit more. You just need to be able to know your multiplication and division facts, and this should be a pretty easy lesson for you. If you don't, I posted those quizzes to Classroom, and you need to practice those and start memorizing them to make this easier on yourselves. All right, so just like every other time, take the notes as we're going through them. Part A is going to be just the rules of multiplying integers, and that's all we're going to focus on today is just multiplying the integers. So the rule is if it has the same sign, the product of the two integers with the same sign is positive. So if they're both negative, it's positive. If they're both positive, it's positive. So two positives make a positive, two negatives make a positive. So if we look at this first problem, 2 times 6. And before I get too far ahead of myself, in elementary school, you guys would see it written like this, 2 times 6. And they would use that little x as a way to show multiplication. Well, we're getting rid of that x because when you get to algebra, x is going to be a variable, not a sign. So we're going to use parentheses instead of the x. So 2 times 6 is, just a very basic fact, 12. All right, number 2. We have two negatives. And when you have two negatives, your answer is positive. So we know this is going to be positive. So negative 10 times negative 6 is 60. All right, number 3, negative 11 times negative 9. Two negatives make a positive. So this is going to be positive 99. Remember, any number times 11 is just that number twice. So 11 times 2, 22. 11 times 9, 99. All right, we have something a little bit different for number 4. This is called a square root. Hopefully you guys have seen this before and are a little bit familiar with it. So when you have a number inside parentheses like our negative 4 is, with an end parentheses and squared, it means we have 2 of everything inside this parentheses. So when you have parentheses around a number and it's squared, you have 2 of those. So this is going to be negative 4 times negative 4. Here you write that. So this is going to be negative 4 times negative 4. So this is back to the problem like we had before. 2 negatives make a positive, and then what's 4 times 4? 4 times 4 is 16. So your answer is positive 16. All right, number 5 is a little bit different. So now we have 3 numbers that we're multiplying together. So the way you do this is you're going to make little carets are usually super helpful. So I'm going to do this to the negative 3 and negative 4, and that's what I'm going to multiply first. So what is negative 3 times negative 4? 2 negatives make a positive, so that is positive 12. And then I haven't done anything with this negative 2 yet, so I'm going to bring it straight down. And I'm going to multiply it by what we already have. That should be negative 2. Make sure when you're doing your notes, you're writing all of these steps down. Same for number 4. All of those steps should have been written down. So we took negative 3 times negative 4, and we got a positive 12. We drew our caret, we brought down a 12. Then we haven't used this negative 2 yet, so we're going to bring down the negative 2. Make sure all this is written on your paper. So now we have 12 times negative 2. So we have one positive and one negative. One positive, one negative equals a negative. So what is 12 times 2? 12 times 2 is 24. We have one negative, so we're going to bring that up. So our answer is negative 24. All right, number 6. it's just like number 4. Make sure you write this down. So anytime we have a number inside parentheses and then squared, it means we have 2 of whatever is inside that parentheses. So this is negative 5 times negative 5. And negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. So the answer to this one, negative 5 squared, is positive 25. All right, so now we're going to talk about the rule of different signs. The product of 2 integers with different signs is negative. So if you have 1 positive and 1 negative, your answer is negative. 2 positives, 2 negatives make a positive, 1 negative makes a negative. All right, so let's look at number 1. 6 times negative 4. Well, we have 1 negative, so our answer is going to be negative. And then what is 6 times 4? 6 times 4 is 24. So 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. All right, number 2. We have negative 5 times 7. 1 positive, 1 negative, so our answer is going to be negative. And then we just have to know our multiplication facts. What is 5 times 7? 5 times 7 is 35. Number 3, do this one on your own. Okay, so we have 1 positive, 1 negative, 3 times negative 5, so our answer is going to be negative, and then 3 times 5 is 15. Number 4, we have a negative 6 times negative 8. 1 negative, 1 positive, so our answer is going to be negative. And then what is 6 times 8? Again, you just need to know your multiplication facts. 6 times 8 is 48. So negative 6 times 8 is negative 48. All right, number 5. 9 times negative 2. Again, we have 1 positive and 1 negative, so our answer is going to be negative. And then 9 times 2 is just 18. All right, last one in this section, number 6. Negative 7 times negative 4. We have 1 negative, 1 positive, so our answer is going to be negative. And then 7 times 4 is, hopefully you have it written down already, 28. So negative 7 times 4 is negative 28. All right, part B is practice, and this is the last section we're going to do for the day. There are a few examples. So the first example is 3 times negative 9. So like we just did before, when you have 1 positive and 1 negative, your answer is going to be negative. So 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. There's a little bit of a rule that we can do when we're doing these two, and we multiply multiple numbers, which we had up top. We're going to look at it a little bit closer. When we have 3 times negative 3 times negative 2, there's a little trick to help you know if it's going to be positive or negative. So if you have an even number of negative signs, your answer is going to be positive. So let's think, what are our even numbers? Well, our even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on. So if you have 2 negative numbers, it's going to be positive. If you have 4 negative numbers, positive. 6 negative numbers, positive. 8 negative numbers, positive. No matter how many negative signs you have, as long as it's a positive number, your answer is always going to be positive. All right, and the same type of rule, if you have an odd number of negative signs, then your answer is going to be negative. So for example, let's think about what are our odd numbers. Well, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on and so forth. So if you have one odd number, or one number that's negative, negative. 3 numbers that are negative, negative. 5 numbers that are negative, negative. So we look at our example, -3 times -2 times -4, your answer is negative. The one above that, we had 3 times -3 times -2, and our answer is positive, so we have 2 negative signs. The one below it, we have 3 negative signs. Negative, negative, negative. So our answer is negative. So let's do an example super quick over here. So say I have negative, I'm going to have to write with my finger, this isn't working. -3 times -4 times -2 times -5 times 6. What is my answer going to be? Is my answer going to be positive or negative? Think about the rules that we just discussed. Is my answer positive or negative? Okay, hopefully you said positive, because if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 negatives, and 4 negatives is an even number, so that means it's going to make it a positive. 4 negatives, an even number of negatives, make our answer a positive. All right, let's try one more. Say I have -8 times -9 times -2 times 4. Is my answer going to be negative or positive? Okay, hopefully you said negative, because we have 1, 2, 3 negative numbers. If we have an odd number of negatives, it's going to be negative. Even though we have 4 numbers, we only have 3 that are negative. So our answer for this will be negative. All right, let's dive into our practice. 8 times 12. Oh my goodness, I don't know what 8 times 12 is on the top of my head. And that's perfectly fine. We're just going to show our work. Do this on your paper, because I doubt you know what 8 times 12 is in your head. So to do this, we're going to put 12 times 8. We take 2 times 8 is 16. Carry your 1. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. They're both positive, so our answer is just going to be a positive 96. Again, make sure you're showing all of your work. All right, number 2. We have 2 negative numbers. 2 negative numbers means our answer is going to be positive. Again, this is not a multiplication fact that I have memorized, so I'm going to show my work. Make sure you're showing your work as well. So we're going to take 15 times 4. All right, what is 5 times 4? 5 times 4 is 20. So we put our 0 down, carry our 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2, 60. 6. So our answer is 60. All right, number 3. This is what we had up top. So remember, anytime we have a number in parentheses, it is saying, and then it's squared, it's saying we have 2 of whatever is inside those parentheses. So we have 2 negative 6s. So -6 times -6, is that going to be positive or negative? It's going to be positive, because 2 negatives make it positive. And then it's going to just be 6 times 6, which is 36. All right, number 4. Now it's cubed, which is the exact same rule as we had with the squared, except it's a little 3. When something is cubed, it means we have 3 of whatever is inside that parentheses. So we're going to have 3 negative 5s. Make sure you write this down. So we're going to have -5 times -5 times -5. I have no idea what that is in my head. So remember, when we have more than 2 numbers, we're going to show our work by doing this caret. We're going to take -5 times -5. 2 negatives make a positive, and 5 times 5 is 25. Right, we haven't used this last 5 here, so we're going to bring that down. Negative 5. So now we have 25 times negative 5. You may not know this from the top of your head, but think of quarters. If I had 4 quarters, how much money would I have? $1, which would be 100. So if I add one more, because we have 5, one more quarter to that, how many do I have? 25. So then I have 125. And our answer, we have one negative, one positive. So our answer is going to be negative. And our answer is negative 125. Again, you just have to show your work and think about some of these problems. All right, number 5. 3 numbers. So we're going to have to show our work again. Negative. Oops. Get my pen back out. Negative 4 times negative 2 times negative 8. All right, so we have negative. Actually, before we do that, let's think about this. We have 3 negative numbers. Is our answer going to be positive or negative? Our answer is going to be negative because 3 negative numbers means it's a negative. So it is negative 4 times negative 2, positive 8. And then we're going to bring down, we haven't touched this other negative 8, so we're going to bring down negative 8. So now we have 8 times negative 8. One negative, one positive. Our answer is going to be negative. And then what is 8 times 8? 8 times 8 is 64. So our answer is negative 64. All right, number 6. Try this one on your own. All right, you should have negative 6 because, or sorry, I did that wrong. You should have positive 6 because negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. And then 6 times 1 is just 6. Number 7. We have one positive and one negative. So our answer is going to be negative, and then 6 times 10 is 60. All right, number 8. Try this one on your own. This is just like what we did in number 4. All right, you should have shown your work on this. If not, and you got it wrong, that's probably why. So remember, when we have a number cubed, means we have 3 of what's inside of there. So we have negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. We haven't used this last negative 3 over here, so we're going to bring it down. Now we have 9 times negative 3. One positive, one negative, so our answer is going to be negative. And then 9 times 3 is 27. So our answer is negative 27. All right, number 9. Hopefully you can do this one without showing work since it's just times 1. Negative 1 times negative 3 is going to be, actually first let's think about this. Is this going to be positive or negative? Hopefully you said negative because we have 3 negative numbers. Our answer is going to be negative. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. Positive 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. All right, number 10. I'm just messing up my numbers today. Number 10. We have 9 times negative 5 times negative 2. Again, make sure you're writing this down. We have 2 negative numbers, so is our answer going to be negative or positive? Hopefully you said positive because we have an even number of negatives. So we can do this one of 2 ways. We can take 9 times negative 5, or we can take 5 times 2. I like taking 5 times 2 better because that's going to give me a 10, and multiplying by 10 is super easy. Let's take negative 5 times negative 2. Well, negative 5 times negative 2 is a positive 10. But we can't forget about this 9 because we haven't used it. So we're going to bring down the 9. But now I just have 9 and a 10. We have to put one of these numbers in parentheses, and it doesn't matter which one. I'm just going to put the 10 in parentheses. So now we have 9 times 10. 9 times 10 is just 90. So our answer is positive 90. All right, try number 11 on your own. Okay, so you should have written this down and showed your work. Okay, for this one, I'm looking at my numbers and there's nothing that's going to come out super nice. So it doesn't matter which order you multiply your numbers. I'm just going to go in order that they're written. Negative 7 times negative 3. 2 negatives make a positive. So 7 times 3 is 21. Have it use this 4. So I'm going to bring down times negative 4. So now I have 21 times negative 4. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, so I can come over here and just write it down. 21 times 4, 1 times 4 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and it's a negative 4, so my answer is negative 84. Negative 84. There we go. Last one we're going to do today. Negative 5 times 2, 4 times negative 2. All right, so I'm going to write this down. Negative 5 times 4 times negative 2. I have two negative numbers, so my answer is going to be positive. Again, this one I'm looking at thinking, how can I solve this to make it a little bit easier on me? And there's two ways you can do it. You can either take 5 times 2 and make it 10, or you can take 5 times 4 and make 20, which is pretty easy too. I'm going to take 5 times 2. So negative 5 times negative 2, 2 negatives make a positive, so positive 10. I haven't used this 4 yet, so I'm going to bring it down. And then 10 times 4 is 40. So our answer is positive 40. All right, so that's all for our notes today. Tomorrow we will get into some story problems and then dividing, which is basically the exact same rules we just did. So go ahead and work on the worksheet and IXL. If you don't finish, that's okay. We will have time later in the week to work on it. So don't do any of this outside of class. Only work on it in class. See you guys later. Have a good day.